The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions of WBGR Network.
Good morning, you guys. Welcome to another lovely Wednesday here on Get It, Got It Good. I am your host, Naja Wilhite, and today I actually have the pleasure of speaking to mayoral candidate Thiru Vignarajah. Right? I just messed it up. I usually get it. Wait, I'm going to get it right. Vignarajah. Right? All right. All right. So today, you guys, we apologize for being a few minutes late. This is all new to everyone as it comes to staying away, social distancing. How's that going for you?
It is a strange new world, especially for an extrovert like me, but public health has got to come first, so we're doing what is necessary.
See, I can relate to that because I am a outdoorsy, face-to-face type of person. But yeah, we definitely got to do what is necessary. And you're in this weird or extraordinary position to be able to affect what's happening in our communities because you are running for mayor. That has to be a little bit different as, you know, this is going on in a different standpoints and things of our current situation. How is that affecting your campaign trail?
Yeah, I always emphasize to the team that at the end of the day, we're a local campaign in the middle of a global pandemic. We have to keep this in perspective. The health of my team, my staff, our friends and family, our loved ones, that's got to be our paramount concern. So we modified things very quickly to make sure that that was our top priority. No more door knocking, no more, large meet and greets. We had stopped working in the office. We were taking all of the precautions that I think we were being encouraged to take. At the same time, part of our job is to make sure that we show what leadership can look like right now. People are nervous, people are scared, people have questions that aren't getting answered. And whatever your party, the governor's response to this has been a case study in leadership. And I'm a proud, lifelong Democrat, but Governor Hogan has shown us what leadership can look like and why it's going to make such a difference. People are desperate for calm, compassionate, strong leadership, and he showed that. And in a smaller way, on a smaller scale, I think we're trying to do our part too. We're not really in the mode of throwing political jabs. We've been critical of City Hall plenty in the past. I think right now what we're trying to do is emphasize the good that's being done and try to do our part to help. That's been a real focal point of the campaign over the last week or so.
It's definitely a time for everybody to work together. So how is that looking? Because I know a lot of citizens, especially in Baltimore, with the corruption and things like that, don't have the same faith in politicians as we should. And right now, we're dependent upon politicians to get us through this. So how is that looking as far as Republicans and Democrats working together?
I'll give you an example from earlier this morning in a second, but just to take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
This is a crisis of global scale. But it's not like Baltimore wasn't enduring its own crises before this.
Indeed.
We had a crisis of crime. We had a crisis with respect to our schools. Our economy is failing. The population decline is as bad as it's ever been. And so it's not like we were short on problems before this hit. And I think in some ways we were always trying to make our way through it. But the point you made about the lack of faith in government, that's something that's not new here. Unfortunately, people do not believe that local government is there to work for them because so many of our recent leaders have been lining their own pockets. They're concerned about, their paycheck, their pension, their friends and family getting jobs. They're not as concerned about the state of the schools, the violent crime, the extraordinary and irrational tax rate. So this is not a new problem. I do think it's taken on a new lens. I don't think people are really expecting our local leaders to do anything different in light of the global pandemic than they did before. So sadly, they're not turning to our elected officials for help. This past weekend, there was a shooting a little while ago there was a carjacking, and they called us, not the other candidates, but our campaign, because I think they're looking for somebody who's going to actually get things done. It was not long ago that Miss Betty and Miss Audrey, these two women that were frustrated, one with the fact that the trash wasn't getting picked up the next day, and the other with the fact that her house got demolished without permission. They called our campaign, and we asked them, you're not calling 311 or 911, you're calling our campaign. Why is that? They said, well, it looks like you're the only one who's actually doing it. And that broke my heart. I got to be honest, from a campaign perspective, it's important for us to show people that we're going to get these things done. We're going to be responsive. We're here. We care. We care about a lot of different issues. But it broke my heart that they've lost faith in government to the point where, whether it's crime or getting your trash picked up, they're calling a campaign instead of City Hall. That's a real symptom of a big problem. Here, what we're trying to do is trying to make something much more positive. On Saturday, we actually went and talked with folks that have been recently laid off to explain to them how they can apply for unemployment assistance. On Sunday, we highlighted a program that we had developed with public health students and business students at Hopkins to make it easier for you to get a gift card to your favorite restaurant. These restaurants are really struggling.
Indeed.
They have no cash flow, and so we want to make sure that they can get gift cards. And the amazing innovation they came up with was, even if you didn't have a gift card program before, you could sign up and participate in standbybaltimore.com and provide a little bit of sustenance for these businesses that are struggling.
Indeed. And people still got to realize to keep the economy flowing, you do have to spend money. But that's kind of catch-22. How do you spend money when you're trying to hold on to your money because you don't know when your next paycheck is coming for most people or those who have been laid off? So moving forward, what would you advise just the everyday person in 9 to 5 as far as surviving this situation, especially since off air you just stated that the schools have extended their time away, correct?
That's right. This is a really scary time, Najah, and I think there's a lot of uncertainty about what we can do. We know that in some ways the federal government, the state government are providing some short-term solutions. So number one, if you are recently unemployed, you should go and apply for unemployment assistance. That safety net is there for exactly these kinds of circumstances. And in fact, they've even extended the requirement that you apply for jobs. So in the past, in order to be eligible for unemployment, you had to 3 times a week try to get a job. Right now, because of all of the public health consequences, that requirement is suspended. That's the first thing for folks that are recently unemployed. For small businesses, you should contact your Chamber of Commerce. Just this past Friday, we had Will Holmes, who's the head of the Baltimore City Chamber of Commerce, talk about the fact that there are small business administration laws that have been passed that provide a fund so that you can try to get the money to sort of tide yourself across this bridge. But let's take a broader step back. This is like Y2K and 9/11 and an earthquake all happening
combined,
at the same time,
yeah.
right? People are scared about public safety. We heard that there were tires getting slashed in one neighborhood. There was rocks getting thrown through businesses in another neighborhood. People are worried about public safety events. You have uncertainty about the short-term economy. People are afraid to go outside and spend money. That's sort of Y2K. And then, of course, you've got this sort of earthquake where basically everything is shut down. April 24th, they've extended the suspension of schools until at least then. Businesses, except for essential services, are now closed by order of the state. That's a kind of an impact on the economy that a natural disaster causes. And the good news is that our country is resilient, our city is resilient, and we have prepared well enough to know that we can survive a natural disaster. But people are going to hurt. People are going to lose their lives. Jobs are going to be lost. Businesses are going to be shuttered. And I think it's the responsibility of our leaders to know that in the short term, we're going to need unemployment assistance, small business loans, and things like that to tide us over. We need to come together and take care of our loved ones and flatten the curve by being responsible when it comes to social distancing. But in the long term, we're going to also need leaders to lay out a blueprint for how we rebuild.
Restoration,
how
yes.
we restart the economy, things like that. That's going to be really important too.
Because it's going to be a ripple effect, but we will prevail. We will come out of this, and then you'll have to focus on Baltimore, right? Would you mind sharing what your press conference was about earlier as far as it relates to Baltimore?
Yeah, of course. Earlier today we had a press conference about the aerial surveillance program, the I Am Sky program. Crime has been, as I think everyone knows, the defining headline of Baltimore, both locally and nationally.
Thiru, wait a minute, we just lost your video.
Yep. Get it back?
Sure. Yay! There we go. Okay.
Right, incoming call, but I said away. Crime is the defining narrative of this city in the local and national headlines. We have this, daily drumbeat of stories about carjackings and killings, and it's really hard to get the other stuff off the ground, right? We've got great plans on rebuilding our transit grid and expanding free buses in Baltimore. We've got a great plan on how to rebuild our schools and guarantee universal pre-K to 3- and 4-year-olds and free college for graduates of Baltimore City public schools and any institution in the state of Maryland. We have great plans on how to cut property taxes in half, how to stimulate our economy, how to make our city more environmentally friendly, more hospitable to immigrants and small businesses. We know that there are strategies for all of those different important problems, but we got to be honest, none of that stuff gets off the ground if we don't get the crime problem under control. And so, as a former prosecutor, I had the privilege of serving as a federal prosecutor, a city prosecutor, and the deputy attorney general of the state of Maryland, I know that has got to be the first challenge we've got to devote our attention to. And in the course of our crime plan, one part of it is an aerial surveillance element. The idea that we would have an eye in the sky that would help us investigate homicide, shootings, and carjacking. Well, as you may or may not know, 4 years ago, the police department did this in secret, and it was a terrible mistake. It eroded trust in government, in the police commissioner in particular. They tried to pretend it wasn't a secret, it wasn't just a pilot, but nobody knew about it. The press didn't know about it, the public didn't know about it, the mayor said she didn't know about it. It was really irresponsible to put a plane above the city and take footage of the community in the name of public safety without telling the public. It was just reckless. And so I've been an advocate of the program, but under very different circumstances. And earlier today, the Board of Estimates was scheduled to vote on an agreement between this company and the city. It's fully funded by a philanthropist. So it's not a bill that you need to know what the safeguards are. What are the privacy things that are going to make us comfortable with this? Well, they didn't unveil the plan. Their Board of Estimates was going to vote on it. The mayor, the city council president, they were all poised to vote on it. So we call for a delay at a minimum so that we can share the plan with the public. The plan has got to be susceptible to public scrutiny, to public review, to public input before the ink is dry.
Transparent.
And I don't...
There you go again.
Yep, sorry. Every time
the phone rings,
the call comes in.
No worries. Yeah, it's got to be transparent. So that way you can build that trust back.
Exactly. So we basically said, look, do you have me back yet?
Yeah, I have you. I can see you. Yep.
Okay, great. We emphasize the importance of that. We called on our local leaders to demand that they release the plan before they approve the deal.
Okay. So, would you agree that schooling and crime have a direct correlation?
Absolutely. I don't know how many of your listeners and viewers know this, but the reality is that education has been the foundation of my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was telling you before we started, my parents and me and my sister, we fled Sri Lanka because of a civil war. And we were originally on our way with our bags packed to go to Nigeria. My parents had jobs in Nakatoa State in the north of Nigeria. But thank God we got a chance to come to the United States. And we did what many immigrant families do. We were living in the basement of our cousins in the Bronx. My dad was working in a factory. My mom was calling down teachers that she knew at Poly High School because a decade earlier she'd come over, in her late 30s, unmarried by herself to teach math at Poly High School. They crossed an ocean in search of a better life, and Baltimore gave us that chance. My mom had started at Poly back in the early 70s, finished her career at Morgan State. My father was a teacher at Edmonton and Douglas and Southern and Western. When he retired, he was the oldest teacher teaching in the state of Maryland. 80 years old. And he's 83 now, but he impressed upon us the importance of education. I went to public schools myself, Edmonton Heights Elementary, graduated from Woodlawn High, and then I got a chance to go to Yale and Harvard Law School. I was president of the Harvard Law Review and clerked on the U.S. Supreme Court and devoted myself to public service in part because education made those opportunities possible. The wall of Frederick Douglass High School where my dad used to teach, there's a saying of Douglass's from 1855. He said, "It is easier to raise strong children than to repair broken men." And my dad used to say, look, if I don't meet them in the classroom, you're going to meet them in the courtroom. And his point was, of course it's connected. We got our best chance of getting people the opportunities and the skills they need to live a constructive, a happy life is school.
Yeah.
And if you want to understand the long-term costs and consequences of a broken school system, you're seeing them play out. We have the highest murder rate in the country. We have carjackings literally every day in the city. That is not just because of a broken criminal justice system, although that too is broken. It is also because of a broken school system.
Indeed.
And if you don't appreciate the connection between the two, you haven't been paying attention.
And it's crazy because as we were speaking off air, I go into the different school systems, and depending on which school you go into in Baltimore County and in Baltimore City, there's a vast difference. And the kids, I call them my babies, they're the sweetest little things, but as you listen to their stories and where they're missing the mark and where people are missing them and letting them fall through the cracks, you can see how they can grow up and fall into certain areas. I had a 10-year-old come to me once and say, well, Miss Carter, they call me Miss Carter. I'm Will Height Carter, by the way. Miss Carter, they're telling us if we go to this high school, we have a chance of graduating, and if we go to this high school, then they're just waiting for us to die or go to jail. And that broke my heart at 10. They knew this, and so it's a definite problem that Baltimore and across the country have. So how do we fix a broken school system? Because it has so many components: funding, teachers, community support, leadership. It has so many different areas that can go wrong or drop the ball. How would you attack that? I wouldn't even know where to begin.
No, it's a good question. It's not just that so many kids come into Baltimore City Public Elementary School in kindergarten and can't recognize the letters of the alphabet. Mm-hmm. It's that those foundational failures continue year after year to the point where if you didn't drop out of high school, there's still so many of our high school students that don't know how to read. The problems persist, and if you don't have that foundation, you of course play stuff out. So how do you fix it? I think you're right. There's a lot of different things. I'm going to focus on a couple of them. The first one is this culture of low expectations has got to go.
Yes.
We cannot believe that this is good enough for our children because parents know better. They know that it's not good enough for their children, which is why so many parents are pulling their kids out of these school systems. The enrollment in Baltimore City Public Schools is at a modern all-time low. Every family that has a choice to send their kids to private schools or to move out to the county, so many of them are taking that choice. And so you've got some schools, a small number of them, that are doing really well, that are, sources of pride. But so many of our schools are just embarrassing. I mean, we are failing our children so badly. Not just that there's no heat or air conditioning in these schools, so they have to close down in the winter because it's too cold, and in the summer because it's too hot. It's not just that in all but 6 of these schools you can't drink water from the water fountain because there's lead in the pipes underneath them. It's not just that the school ratios are off, that the schools are twice as old as the schools in the rest of the state, that there's no soap in the bathrooms before coronavirus or after. I mean, these are profound failures. It's also that we don't have arts programs or music programs in the overwhelming majority of these schools. Only a handful of schools have a theater program. Half the schools don't have a music program. I mean, these are hugely important things for the enrichment of these children. Now, somebody's going to say back to me, well, they don't know how to read or write. Isn't that where our focus should be? And the answer is, of course, that's where we should start. But these kids are suffering through so many different kinds of trauma, and I think people don't realize that if they don't have arts and music as an outlet, it is harder for them to cope with trauma.
Indeed.
If they don't have a belief that there is something beyond these schools, the imagination and creativity that is spurred on by these programs, they don't have the ability to see behind the brokenness of their community. They don't have an opportunity to see what the horizon might hold for them. We got to change all of that, and that has everything to do with the culture of low expectations. Now, I don't want to just deliver that soundbite and stop there. Universal pre-K for every 3 and 4 year olds, turning our elementary schools into community schools so that they're the hub of activity, expanding school choice so that people who want to go to public charter schools have that ability, because so many of our public charter schools are outperforming our public schools. And even as we lift up our public schools, the children should not be the guinea pigs for broken systems and broken schools. Expanding the resources that teachers have in the classroom, so there's an extra adult resource in every classroom, whether it's a paraeducator or a teacher's aide or an adult volunteer or a social worker or a trauma specialist, somebody to help lift the burden that right now falls on our teachers alone. There's a lot to fix there, and the good news is we've seen it happen. We have seen school systems turn over from underperforming to performing to overperforming in a matter of years. Not a matter of minutes. Not going to happen in year 1. But over the course of time, with real leadership, we can make this happen. Look, I'm going to be impolite about this for a second. The failures of our school system, the failures of our criminal justice system, the failures of our transit grid, the failure of inequity, it's related all ultimately to a failure of leadership. The crime in Baltimore is not just what's happening on the street. It's the deficit of leadership in City Hall. It's the corruption. It's the people getting convicted of tax fraud, of bribery, of taking illegal campaign contributions. We've had 2 mayors and 2 police commissioners that have been indicted and convicted of crime in state and federal court. Name another city that has that. How do you expect a city to have faith in their local leaders when that's our track record? And if you think it's just at the top, again, you're not paying attention. There's mayor's aides that are getting convicted. People are giving jobs to their friends and family. You've got police officers being caught up in the worst corruption scandal in American history. This is all happening in my backyard.
Yeah.
It is all happening on our watch. And I candidly do not understand why the people that got us here in the first place, whether they were in City Hall or the police department or the General Assembly, they have presided over this natural disaster, this national tragedy.
Yeah.
And now they turn around and they say, well, they want a promotion. I honestly don't have the understanding of how they have the audacity to ask for such.
I mean, you'd be amazed in some human nature and where they stand. And it's all fascinating. So with the schools and everything and the leadership, do you think any of the results will come from partnering with community organizations, community businesses? Because it would then help the business community as well as the students in building that bond and that foundation for everyone to grow and thrive.
Absolutely, and I'll give one very specific example. Community schools, sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. And I think a critical element of when we see a successful community school is when that school has partnered with community organizations and businesses in and around that particular school. It really does take a village. Now, that's become a cliche, but what does that look like in real life? It means it's not just the teachers and the principals that are responsible for the education of the children. It's the parents, it's the grandparents, the uncles and aunts, it's the entrepreneurs, it's the innovators, it's the neighborhood businesses and convenience stores, it's the nonprofits that are rooted in that community, all of them coming together and saying, look, we need a cooking class after school for the moms and dads. We need a GED class for some of the parents that need to get the GED. We need an expungement clinic for folks that need to have their uncle's record expunged.
A financial class, everything.
Video games and financial literacy and
parenting.
Dance classes.
Yeah.
Exactly. All of those things have to be there, and the teachers and the principals can't do that alone. Everybody's got to come together to do that. And if you want to see a really vibrant school, where the school is the nucleus of the community, everybody's got to come into that epicenter of activity and do their part. And my God, if we did that, just imagine what these schools could look like. I'll maybe end with a quick story.
Sure.
For those of you who are students of history, you will know that the greatest alumni of our city, in my humble view, is the greatest jurist in American history, Thurgood Marshall. Marshall went to Frederick Douglass High School, and he was a fine student, sort of above average student. Graduated and went to Lincoln University, historically black college. And at Lincoln, he was an above average student. He actually graduated with honors. And he wanted desperately to go to the flagship law school in his home city, University of Maryland Law School. Well, he couldn't go there because they didn't admit blacks. So he went to Howard Law School out in D.C. And at Howard Law School, as a first-year student, he met Charles Hamilton Houston. I mentioned before that I had the privilege of serving as the president of the Harvard Law Review. Well, Charles Hamilton Houston was the first African-American admitted to the law review at Harvard. And if you go to the law review building in Cambridge, Massachusetts, on the wall there is a picture of every class going all the way back to 1887. But there's only one portrait. Not a portrait of Barack Obama, not a portrait of any of the justices that went to the Harvard Law Review. It is a portrait of Charles Hamilton Houston. And it's not because he was the first black editor. It's actually because he discovered Thurgood Marshall. When he was dean of Howard Law School and Marshall was a first-year student, he saw this kid, this scrappy kid from Baltimore, who was a better lawyer, a better advocate, a better moralist, a better writer, a better thinker than he had ever seen. And he cultivated this brash, loud kid from Baltimore. He mentored him, he encouraged him. Thurgood Marshall graduated at the top of his class from Howard Law School. And he could have done anything. He could have gone to any fancy law firm. He could have gone and had fancy clerkships. He instead said, I want to go back to Baltimore and I want to fight. And he came back to Baltimore and he hung up a shingle right out of law school on Redwood Street, right downtown. On the corner of Charles and Redwood, right now there's a Kinko. The back of that Kinko, Thurgood Marshall set up a law firm. And fresh out of law school, he sued the University of Maryland Law School for not admitting blacks. He was 24 years old, 1 year out of law school. And he made an argument courts had never heard before. He made an argument courts had never listened to before. And he won. The University of Maryland Law School became the first law school in America to be desegregated by order of the court, by Maryland's highest court. And the same argument he made 1932. He made 20 years later, when he argued in 1952, Brown versus Board of Education before the United States Supreme Court. That kid was from Baltimore. That's one story, Nacha. But there's 1,000 more stories just like that. But if we're going to unleash those stories, we're going to unlock that promise and potential, we got to fix the schools. We got to clean up these streets. We got to clean house in City Hall. And all of that requires new leadership.
Exactly. So I definitely appreciate your time with me here today, Thiru. It was an absolute joy speaking to you for a while now. You guys who are at home listening to this, definitely share this with your friends. It's a lot of information. There's a lot of history that we need to, unleash on the public that we just do not know about the communities we're growing up in, about the people who have preceded us, and about our leadership. Definitely, you guys go out and vote. Get the information that you need, do your research, but definitely do not be a sideline participant or a complainer who do not get involved. So definitely, once again, I appreciate your time. You guys, you can catch Get It Got It Good every Wednesday on the WBGR Health and Wellness channel, and definitely every weeknight at 6 p.m. on Total Entertainment Radio. And I know you have busy schedule ahead of you, so I'm going to let you go and continue upon your day. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Take care of yourself, take care of your family and loved ones in this time of uncertainty, and good luck and God bless.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So you guys, thank you for being here today. Definitely check out the show. Like I said, I want to shout out all my sponsors. Get It Got It Good. Get It Got It Good sponsors, which are Total Entertainment Radio, WBGR Health and Wellness, Nail Fetish, which is unfortunately closed, of course, until further notice. One Man Shop is another. Dance Solutions Youth Outreach, as well as Mission Dance Works and Favor One. So you guys, nothing but love for you. See you next Wednesday. Get the key.